Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift's wedding footage is finally making its way online, and fans think it confirms what they've been saying ever since the wedding. It looked tacky. From the moments caught on camera to what guests have revealed afterward, one detail has everyone talking. Here's where it starts. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce got married at Madison Square Garden, and the plan was for almost none of it to reach the public. Guests were made to sign non-disclosure agreements. Phones were supposedly locked away, and according to TMZ, attendees told the outlet were even checked for hidden recording devices and smart glasses, with the whole production described to some guests only as being filmed for a movie. That's the kind of lockdown you'd expect around a head of state, not a tight end and a pop star. And yet, within 48 hours, footage was already out. The first real clip came from the Daily Mail, and it's short, just 32 seconds. But it's the first time anyone outside that room got to see what Madison Square Garden looked like. Once Swift and Kelce were done with it, a newly leaked video gave the world its first real look inside the wedding at Madison Square Garden, showing a venue nobody would recognize as an arena, obtained by the Daily Mail's Eileen Reslin. Think about that. This is a building that hosts the Knicks, the Rangers, championship boxing, and guests walked in to find Madison Square Garden transformed into an enchanted garden of towering trees, emerald drapery, and soaring archways, where the couple said "I do" before a room of A-listers, lifelong friends and family. The clip shows guests moving from the ceremony space through a set of concealed doors into the reception. Guests can be seen gathering at the altar before disappearing through a hidden set of doors and into the couple's dreamlike reception. And it's not just a big room. Another angle from the same leak shows a hallway lined with photos from the relationship. A romantically lit hallway with pink walls, peach drapery, and matching carpet, featuring a sentimental touch with several photos of Swift and Kelce throughout their relationship on the walls, alongside a large TNT logo. So already, before you even get to a single quote from a guest, the footage is telling you something. This wasn't a corporate event with a wedding theme bolted on. Someone spent serious money and time making sure the first thing people felt walking in was nostalgia. Their own faces, their own timeline, blown up on the walls. Now here's the part that matters for the bigger question everybody's been asking since the couple got together. Is this real, or is this a brand? Three names help answer that in the first wave of reporting alone. First, AMC Theaters CEO Adam Aron, who was one of 1,000 people in the room, posted a long account before deleting it. He said the transformation left him stunned, writing that it did not look like Madison Square Garden, describing how immediately upon entry, everything, floors, walls, ceilings, was draped in peach and white. He went further, describing large blown-up pictures of Taylor and Travis at each age, year by year from 1-year-old to late teenagerhood, on display throughout the space. That's not the kind of detail a publicist plants for headlines. That's a guest who walked through a hallway of baby pictures and felt like he'd stepped into somebody's actual life. Second, George Stephanopoulos as a Good Morning America anchor. He had every incentive to give a neutral, professional soundbite. Instead, what he gave a BC News was almost gushing. He called the ceremony great and moving, with Adam Sandler funny and touching, and vows that were everything you would hope for: real, vulnerable, serious, and silly, deeply loving. Robin Roberts, sitting next to him, added a detail that humanizes the whole thing. Roberts and Stephanopoulos said the couple wrote their own vows in little books. Third, Taylor's own aunt, Robin Gentry, who LBC caught leaving the venue. She wasn't polished or media trained about it. She just laughed and said with a laugh that they cried, and they laughed, and they danced, and they hugged, and they kissed. That's a family member's plain description of a night that by every account played out exactly the way people wanted to believe it would. Three separate voices, a CEO, a network news anchor, and a family member, landing on almost identical language within 72 hours of each other. Moved, emotional, real. That consistency is the thing the footage keeps confirming over and over, as more of it leaks out. And it's about to get more specific, because the vows themselves are where this story really turns. If the visuals confirm the fairy tale on the outside, the vows are what confirmed it on the inside. Literally, in the words the two of them chose to say to each other in front of 1,000 people. According to multiple outlets working separate sources, Swift and Kelce didn't do a quick ceremonial exchange. They each wrote and read their own vows, and by several accounts, the exchange ran close to 40 minutes combined. Swift and Kelce each spent about 20 minutes reading vows they personally wrote, making the emotional exchange one of the ceremony's defining moments. 40 minutes is a long time to stand in front of a room holding a microphone. That's not a courthouse I do. That's a couple who wanted every person in that building, and by extension, everyone who'd eventually hear about it, to know exactly how they felt. And here's the detail that's been repeated by nearly every guest who's spoken since. It wasn't Taylor who cried the hardest, it was Travis. One attendee told NBC News point blank that exchanging vows caused tears among the guests, and that Travis was the more emotional of the two, saying you would think the bride would be the one crying more, but it was actually Travis that was more emotional. Think about the image that creates. This is a guy who's played in Super Bowls, who trash talks on a podcast for a living, who's built an entire public persona around being loud and unbothered. And in the one moment that actually mattered to him personally, he's the one who couldn't hold it together. What made him emotional wasn't some generic "I love you," it was specific. A source told People that during her section of the vows, Taylor talked about who Travis was as a teenager long before any of this fame existed. A source told People that Taylor praised the kind of teenager Travis was in high school during her 20-minute wedding vows, saying Travis was the guy in high school who, even though he was the star athlete, would go sit with the less popular kids who were being bullied at lunchtime, and that Taylor wished she'd known someone like that when she was in high school, calling it so special. That detail did two things at once. It told the room who Travis actually is underneath the highlight reels, and it explained in real time why he was the one crying, because someone he loved stood up in front of everyone he knows and described the version of him that existed before any of the noise. Guests also picked up a second beat from later in the vows. Kelce reportedly told Swift he'd protect her, and it landed hard. Swift reportedly became tearful after Kelce promised to protect her forever, with a source saying the Kansas City Chiefs star appeared nervous as he expressed himself. So it went both ways. She made him cry talking about his past. He made her cry talking about her future. That's not a script. That's two people who know each other well enough to know exactly where the soft spot is. Adam Aaron, who'd already given detailed color on the room itself, also weighed in on the tone of the vows specifically, calling them emotional, irreverent, and endearing explorations of how they both met. That word irreverent matters. It means there was humor mixed in with the tears, which lines up with what Stephanopoulos already said about the vows being serious and silly in the same breath. Even the small physical details back this up. Guests received custom handkerchiefs at their seats before the ceremony even started, which tells you the couple expected the tears and planned for them. The couple reportedly anticipated plenty of tears and prepared guests with custom embroidered handkerchiefs, placed at every seat, featuring an interlocking TT Heart logo, alongside a lyric from Swift's 2014 hit Blank Space, a song reportedly favored by Kelce. Country singer Maren Morris, one of the guests, posted a photo of hers afterward, giving fans their first physical glimpse of a keepsake from the night. So by the time the footage started circulating showing the transformed arena, the story from inside the room was already consistent. Genuine tears, personal history, inside jokes, a couple who used their vows to say things about each other that only people who'd actually paid attention for 3 years would know to say. The visuals and the words were telling the same story from two different directions. But a wedding this big doesn't happen in a vacuum. To understand why so many people were watching for confirmation in the first place, you have to go back to how public this relationship has been from the very start, and why skepticism about celebrity romances exists at all. Part of why this footage carries so much weight is the sheer amount of scrutiny this couple has been under since 2023. When two of the most photographed people on the planet start dating, the public doesn't just watch, it audits. Every stadium appearance, every lyric, every red carpet moment gets treated like evidence, in a case that never actually goes to trial. And with that much attention comes an equal and opposite amount of people convinced it's all for show. The timeline itself reads like a highlight reel built for skepticism. Rumors started in the summer of 2023, after Kelce mentioned Swift on his podcast. From there, Taylor referenced Travis in her song lyrics in April 2024, further solidifying their relationship through music. And Travis made a surprise appearance on stage with Taylor during her Eras tour show in London in June 2024, taking their public connection to the next level. Every single one of those moments got dissected online in real time. Was the lyric really about him? Was the stage appearance staged for cameras? That's the environment this relationship has existed in for 3 years, a non-stop audit. Then in December 2025, on a late-night stage, Swift made the kind of statement that either ends the skepticism or fuels a new round of it, depending on who's watching. During an appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, Taylor calls Travis the love of her life. To fans, that was confirmation. To doubters, it was just another well-timed soundbite. The engagement followed in August 2025, announced the way this couple announces everything, visually, with a caption built for headlines. The couple announced their engagement on 26 August via an Instagram post with the caption, "Your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married." Even that caption tells you something about how they think about their own story. Self-aware, a little funny, clearly written by two people who know exactly how the internet reads them. So when the wedding itself finally arrived, it wasn't just a wedding. It was the final piece of evidence in a 3-year public trial. And the couple seemed to understand that, because everything about the day, the size, the secrecy, the security, was built like they knew the whole world would eventually be picking it apart, clip by leaked clip. That's why the security operation matters as its own part of this story, not just as a footnote. The lengths this couple went to lock the event down tell you they wanted this one specific night to belong only to the people in the room, which ironically is exactly why the footage that is leaked carries so much weight. If they'd wanted a public spectacle, they'd have hired photographers and sold the pictures. Instead, they tried to seal the room shut, and the emotion still spilled out anyway, through guests who couldn't help but talk about it. Consider the scale of what was locked down. 1,000 people, an arena that normally seats close to 20,000 for a hockey game. They say there were around 1,000 attendees, but surprisingly, it all felt intimate and small. Everything was close. That's Adam Aaron again. And it's a strange thing to hear about a venue the size of Madison Square Garden, that 1,000 people inside it somehow felt intimate. That takes design. That takes intention. Somebody wanted the largest possible gathering to feel like the smallest possible one. And the guest list itself tells its own story about how deep this relationship runs into both of their actual lives, not just their public ones. It wasn't just industry names. There was the Hollywood contingent, including Steven Spielberg, Gigi Hadid and Bradley Cooper, Dakota Johnson, Eric Stonestreet, and Hugh Grant. Kansas City native and Chiefs fan Jason Sudeikis was also there, as well as self-professed Swiftie Nikki Glaser. Jennifer Lopez, Graham Norton, Jimmy Fallon, and Zoe Kravitz were also spotted among the arrivals. Swift's close friend Selena Gomez posted a photo on her Instagram account wearing a fitted, beaded golden gown. Then you had the sports figures, like New England Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel and sportscaster Aaron Andrews. Notice how that list blends two totally separate worlds, pop culture royalty and NFL locker rooms, sitting in the same seats. That's not a guest list built by a publicist trying to maximize press coverage. Half those names wouldn't normally be in the same building, let alone the same wedding. It's a guest list built by two people combining their actual separate lives into one room, which is a much smaller and more personal thing than it sounds like from the outside. The wedding party made the same point even more directly. Rather than the usual lineup of a dozen bridesmaids and groomsmen, they trimmed it down to family. The couple opted against a traditional bridal party. Instead, the bride's brother Austin Swift served as her man of honor, while the groom's brother Jason Kelce was his best man. That's about as small and unglamorous a choice as two megastars can make. No influencers standing at the altar, just siblings. So the picture that forms across 3 years of scrutiny and one heavily guarded night isn't a couple performing a relationship for cameras. It's a couple who spent years being watched, then tried to buy back one single evening of privacy. And even that attempt leaked, piece by piece, confirming exactly what the doubters kept saying couldn't be confirmed. Here's where the story takes its most interesting turn, because for all the NDAs, the device sweeps, and the blacked out vans, the footage got out anyway, and it kept getting out in waves. It started with that first 32-second clip from the Daily Mail. Then came more. A second angle showed the reception space in full, Madison Square Garden reworked into what Daily Mail described as an enchanted garden, with towering trees, emerald green drapery hanging from the ceiling, and a soaring, chapel-like structure with gray archways standing in for the altar, with nude-colored coverings hiding the arena's usual blue seats entirely. A basketball arena disappeared, every trace of its normal identity covered over. Then the transition footage leaked, the moment guests moved from the vows into the party. The footage also captures the transition from ceremony to reception, with guests in formal wear filing through hidden magic doors behind the altar as Candy Staten's disco staple Young Hearts Run Free played. That song choice alone tells you the tone shifted the second the ceremony ended, from tears to celebration, on purpose, in one architectural motion through a hidden door. More clips kept surfacing days later, adding new angles instead of repeating old ones. One showed the monogram wall up close. In footage obtained by Daily Mail, the inside of MSG appeared to be completely transformed, as one clip showed Swift and Kelce's monogram displayed on a wall, with pictures of the newlyweds encased in gold frames taking up residence beside it, while the rest of the room boasted a stunning peach color, also featured on fabric draping the ceiling. Another clip found a corner of the arena rebuilt to resemble the exact spot where the engagement happened. A separate clip captured how a corner of the arena was transformed into a romantic garden, reminiscent of the location where Kelce popped the question to Swift last August. That's a deliberate callback. Whoever designed this wedding didn't just want a garden theme. They rebuilt the actual proposal setting inside Madison Square Garden, so the two moments would visually rhyme. That's the kind of detail that doesn't happen by accident, and it's the kind of detail that keeps surfacing every time a new piece of footage leaks, each one adding a layer instead of just repeating the last one. So who was filming all of this in the first place? According to entertainment journalist Mike Guns, the couple brought in a professional crew, and the footage may have a life beyond just leaked clips. He said industry insiders told him Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding is being professionally filmed by her and her production team, to possibly be released as a special sometime later this year on a streaming platform, or in a lead-up to her next album release next year. That's worth sitting with a full professional crew, not just a videographer working the room. Which means everything currently leaking, the 32-second clips, the hallway pans, the monogram wall, is almost certainly a tiny fraction of hours of footage sitting somewhere, waiting on a decision about if and when to release it properly. And even without an official release, guests kept adding pieces themselves. Photos started surfacing from personal accounts rather than paparazzi lenses. A detail that matters, because it means these aren't stolen images, they're gifts from people who were actually invited. A photo shared to personal trainer Rob Jordan and his wife Joanne's Instagram accounts offered a first glimpse inside the wedding that Stephanopoulos described as a garden inside the garden. The couple held hands as they walked up an orangey carpeted staircase to what appears to be the entrance to the wedding. Even the invitation itself made it out. A photo believed to belong to the brother of Kelce's childhood friend surfaced briefly online before being deleted. A photo of the invitation was seemingly shared by Ashish Ferguson, the brother of Kelce's childhood friend and former personal chef, Kumar Ferguson. In a handful of photos from the weekend, the photo has since been deleted, but not before users grabbed a screenshot, reading, "You're invited, July 3rd. So piece by piece, video clips, personal photos, a leaked invitation, even a handkerchief posted by a country singer. The full picture kept assembling itself in public, no matter how tightly the room itself was sealed. And every single piece landed on the same note: overwhelming, unmistakable, personal joy. Nothing that leaked contradicted anything a guest said out loud. The visuals and the testimony kept confirming each other, clip after clip, quote after quote, which brings the story to where it stands now. Married, documented in fragments, and already moving toward whatever comes next. So where does this leave things, now that the footage is out? The vows have been described by half a dozen separate guests, and the wedding of the year is officially over. The most immediate answer is that Swift and Kelce didn't treat the moment as an ending. They treated it as a launch point for something bigger than themselves. Right before the ceremony, the two of them made a move that got far less attention than the guest list, but says more about who they are once the cameras aren't the point. Ahead of their rumored Madison Square Garden wedding in New York, the couple announced a joint $26 million donation to 20 charities across the U.S., including children's hospitals and food banks. That's not a detail designed to generate a headline about a dress or a guest list. It's the kind of decision two people make when they're thinking less about how the wedding gets covered and more about what the marriage is actually for. It lines up with everything the vows apparently said. A couple more interested in who they are to each other and to the people around them than in stage managing a brand moment. The public reaction, meanwhile, has settled into something warmer than the usual celebrity news cycle. Comment sections that are normally split into camps of believers and skeptics have leaned almost entirely one direction. Fans flooded social media with the kind of messages that don't read like fandom performance. Many blessings to this beautiful couple, one fan wrote on Instagram, while another added, "This is so beautiful, two amazing humans who found each other. So happy for TNT and their families." That's not the tone of an audience that suspects a stunt. That's the tone of an audience that feels like it just watched something it had been rooting for finally land. There's still mystery left in the footage too, the kind that keeps people scrolling rather than moving on. Fans spotted something odd in one of the leaked clips. A framed photo showing the couple holding a fluffy dog nobody had ever seen before, sparking a small side investigation of its own into whether the newlyweds have a pet the public simply never knew about. Cosmopolitan reported that fans became convinced the newlyweds have a secret dog after footage from their Madison Square Garden wedding showed a framed photo of the couple holding a fluffy animal. Small detail, but it's the kind of thing that only gets noticed because people are still combing through every second of footage, frame by frame, months of internet archaeology out of 32 seconds of video. And then there's the bigger question hanging over everything, whether all of this ends up as more than scattered clips. If Guns' sourcing holds up, a proper film or special could eventually surface, timed to an album cycle or a streaming deal, turning today's leaked fragments into tomorrow's official record of the night. Extra TV has already reported that, for now, there's no confirmed documentary in the works, even as speculation about one keeps circulating. Days ago, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce tied the knot at Madison Square Garden, but many are wondering if their wedding footage will make it to the big screen. Whatever comes of that, the footage that is already leaked did something the security team, the NDAs, and the device sweeps couldn't stop. It confirmed, clip by clip and quote by quote, the version of this relationship people had been hoping was true all along. A couple who wrote their own vows, cried through most of them, rebuilt the site of their engagement inside an arena, and gave 1,000 people custom handkerchiefs because they knew exactly how the night would end. Not a performance staged for an audience of millions. A wedding caught almost by accident